Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Monday Morning Art Talk. Whippy! Okay, so today what I wanted to discuss was something that goes on in my head more than I want it to. And I'm just curious. I asked my brother about it. He's my twin brother. And I asked him about it just today. And he said, man, yeah, I go through the same thing. So I'm wondering if you go through the same thing, what I'm going to discuss here. And what that is the sort of like reoccurring theme of what we almost think about. What do we question the most? Why is it that we're having those good days? Why is it that we have those bad days? Why is it that we get into a bit of a funk somehow? So there's those moments where I think, nah, I understand things. I feel confident. I feel I've done from within myself, within my own experience, within my own reading, within everything. I feel like I understand how things work, and I feel confident about that. But then there's those times where does this happen to you? I'm sitting there, and you just start to wonder, why do I feel just a little bit uneasy about something? Why don't I feel just like present all the time? Even though I'm aware of that, the importance of being present is very important. But what is it? Why is that? What's going off? And I realize the thing that I question the most, reoccurring, I question the most, and it's crazy. Well, maybe not crazy. Maybe you can agree or not agree, is what's next? And that becomes it, where the thing where I get in that funk is almost like, I wonder, it's questioning what's next. What's going to happen if I make this decision? Okay, I'm going to contact this person. What's the result? It's almost like, what's the result going to be of everything we do? I just submitted my portfolio. I just turned in my stuff to the client. What's next? What are they going to do? What are they going to say? Are they going to like it? Are they not going to like it? What's going to come of that? Again, this constant almost trying to, that voice in the head, right? Of trying to project into the future, which you cannot do. And I know that. I know you can't do that. I know you can't control that. So part of my answer is, well, you just got to keep busy. Well, that's one thing for sure. You're keeping busy doing stuff. But the reality is, whatever you're doing and you keep being busy with now is going to become your next. So whatever thing that you're working on is what is going to be the next action because of that. So something has to come of that. If I'm working on a design and working, and maybe I'm developing a show and creating that, well, what's next is either going to work in my favor or not work in my favor, but it's going to be a result of what I'm currently working on now. So I'm either going to sell that show or I'm not going to sell that show. This is going to happen or that's going to happen, right? So it's always that thing. But I really feel like that's the funk. That's the thing where maybe, and I think about this too, just because when I meet so many artists and talk with so many artists, and I know they're all going through the same stuff. We're all going through the same stuff. And that's why it's so easy to talk to you and relate to this, and when I have conversations with people, because here we are going through this. But it's like that. So again, whether you're even in a career that you want to do, that you're striving at, you're succeeding at, you're content with, you're happy with, and all these things are going on, there's still that, those little breaks where it goes, what's next? What's going to be the next thing? Where's the next thing coming from? It's not even so much that where's the next check coming from, although that absolutely, again, that's a whole nother thing I'll talk about. But, when you're in a successful realm, right? And when I talk about success, I'm not talking about that, I've got millions of dollars, I'm so successful now. there's a lot of people who aren't successful who have millions of dollars, okay? That's not what success is. Success to me is fulfillment, that you just feel happy, you feel content, you feel that you're doing what you love to do, you're enjoying that process, right? So as I personally go through these phases, and I've gone through my ups and downs on my journey, is that still doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm happy in what I'm doing, but still it's just like that question of what's next. And knowing what's next. I mean, I got things planned. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be there. I'm going over there. Those are happening. I know what's coming. But there's that funk of what's next again, when it still is, what's that next job going to look like? I don't even know what it's going to be, but what's it going to be like? What's it going to present? What's going to happen when I start even working on a piece of artwork and I go through that? It's almost like, what's next? What's the result of that going to be? It's either going to be successful drawing or it's going to be an unsuccessful drawing. And I've had many of those. And you're sitting and you're drawing and you think you're onto something and you see it in your head, and then you start trying to put it down on paper, and you're putting down on paper and the shapes start altering, or things aren't lining up or measuring up, and then you start to question, the piece, and you're just like, you're either happy with it or you're not happy with it, right? So it's that constant question of what's next. So on the other side, if you're not in a financial good situation and you don't have things working for you and you're at a job that you're not so happy with, and you got to move on and change things in your life, which you just got to act on and you just got to start doing it. This is where the what's next is constantly going through. Again, I was there. I've been there. I did my time. And I was going through those phases too, and that constant question, where's that next paycheck coming from? Where's the next job going to be? Am I going to land this job? Is it going to happen for me? All these things. What's going to happen? What's next if I have a child? What's that life going to be like? What's next if I buy a house and I get a mortgage? What's next? What's next? What's next? And it's this constant what's next. And that's the word, that's just the phrase that I think when I put it in, and this is why I love writing stuff down, because when I did last night, I'm like, man, that's why am I in this funk right now? I shouldn't be, yet I was, and I'm go, what am I thinking about? What's next? Okay, so this is the thing that we're all going through this, again, trying to determine what is a solution, what's the fix. Sometimes you always want to fix things and you just can't fix everything. I do know that this is part of it. This is just part of life. So there's a huge part of acceptance that comes from this. And just go through with it, and just know that whatever you're currently working on is going to take you into your next level, right? So if you're wanting to improve, if you're wanting to change things, if you're wanting to do anything, the result is you just got to act on stuff, and that next is just going to be out of your control, and let it sort of happen, all right? So it's going to be there. Curious if you sort of think about that too, if that's your biggest worry, if that's your biggest stress. Again, feel free to write in the comments. I love reading your guys' comments. I read every single one of them. And that's it. So hey, what's next? Well, what's funny too is like sometimes you could finish something, you finish a project. Like I remember when I had just finished my book, The Silver Way. And I just finished with the book and I was selling it at a convention for the first time, and a couple people said, so what's next? What's next? What are you talking about? I just finished this. Can't I enjoy this for a little bit? And that's funny because every time I see these movie stars interviewed, they're being interviewed over a movie they're doing. So what's next for you? I don't know, man. Can't I just finish this movie and promote this movie that I just did? Why gotta worry about what's next? But that seems to be the human nature question. The thing I think that drives us the most insane, the stuff that because we can't control it. And that's the horrible thing. It's out of our control. A lot of things we have free will. A lot of things we can control and decide to do and make a decision to do. And a lot of things we just can't. And I think maybe that's the thing that drives us nuts. What's next? What's going to happen when this job finishes? Especially when working in the animation industry. When I was in-house and just relying on my one in-house job. That was a studio. That's all I did. constantly question what's next. Well, man, what's the next show going to be? I wonder what's next. Are we going to get picked up? What's next? That constant almost fear of what's coming next, as opposed to just keep acting. And this is what I know for sure, that every time, I'm 45 now, and I've always acted on stuff, and I've always done stuff, and here I am still doing my art after starting professionally at 18 years old and still doing it all these years later, having kids that I was scared to death about having, and they're 16 and they're 14, you know, they're really getting up there. All this stuff, it's just like, it just happens, and it's trying to just trust in that more than anything. Again, I'm aware of it. I know, you got to trust in it and just know, look what's happened all these years, and all those fears I had, were they a reality? No, they were all just figments of my imagination. They didn't come true because I didn't want them to come true. And then here I am now in this place, still 45 years. So what makes me think the next 45 years aren't going to be the same? Makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. But it's that common question, and yeah, not so great. But anyway, that's it. Hope that sort of sparks a little something in your mind. Again, love to hear your comments. GZA Expo. Be sure to show up, come say hello, just stop by and just meet industry people. It's going to be a good time. And also, if you happen to be in Florida, I'm coming to Florida. And of course, there's going to be Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con coming up. And I'm also doing a retreat out in Santa Cruz. You can see that at silvertunes.com in the events. And that's it. I'm also, right now, I'm working on a new book for hopefully have for Comic-Con, a new sketchbook series. So I'm hoping that I'll get that printed in time. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Make it a great week. If you live in Orlando, Florida, be sure to check out my upcoming workshop next month.